Space, the final frontier. Well, okay, not really. All right, take two. Here in the Mitten State, welcome to Code 47, bringing you all things Star Trek, spanning the quadrants, the best thing since the neutral zone.
Hello, my Trek friends, near and far, in this case, very far, judged by my co-host. But welcome back to Code 47 on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. This is episode 179. I am Charlie Carden, your humble servant, Trek Lord of West Michigan. I am without my number two or my number one this week. Peter he got in a shuttlecraft on Thursday evening, said he'd be back after he picked up some space groceries, fell into a wormhole, and by all reports, he should possibly be back today. But in his stead, I beamed in a co-host to be my new number one. Look at that, temporary acting first officer. Sean Farrick of Trek Culture is back with us. Sean, how are you today?
I am great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the power of co-hosting going straight to my head. So, yeah, the megalomania,
something or all. Yeah, that'll work. Good deal. Well, we're back instead to talk about Strange New Worlds, season 4. We're going to grab episodes 3 and 4. So we're going to do our little breakdown of that. And then we're going to jump into continuing our segment talking about top 5 episodes of our top characters, our captains and executive officers. So this is the first time that we talked about Kirk last week. So we'll talk about Spock this week. He is, of course, the executive officer. Kirk's number one. So we're going to talk about some segments of his that we like, both movie and TV. So yeah, looking forward to jumping in and having a great show. So first and foremost, if you're joining us from over on the Trek Geeks feed, we've been a member of Trek Geeks for a couple of months now. Super psyched to be a part of that family. We are a network of 4 different shows. We have this show, which we're very, very proud of, 5 years running. We also do a show about Star Wars called Holocron Chronicles. We do a great topic-based show called Secret Friends Unite. Oops, all Thunderdome, or just Secret Friends Unite if you prefer. And then we have a great interview show called Spotlight, where we talk to a lot of creators, both actors, comic book personalities, so on and so forth. So we would love to have you by visiting our website. You can find all of those at secretfriendsunite.com. And speaking of website links, over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, where we have a lot of wonderful loyal fans who get all of our shows early. They get exclusive programming in a Discord channel on our Discord just for them. We thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to be a part of that fund, even just to be a free member, your first week is free for everybody. But we have a lot of free members who just hang on and see our updates and stuff, and we interact with them from time to time. We love that. If you stick around after that week, your first month is free, and then you can be on board for as little as $2 a month. Moving forward. So we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Check us out. We'd love to have you on board. All right. I'm going to do some real news before I give another commercial. But Sean, I'm going to kind of kick this over to you, since being a Star Trek journalist is your full-time occupation, where I'm just a greedy hanger-on. But I defer to the real expert. Star Trek Las Vegas, or the Trek to Vegas, as it is legally known as, wrapped up last week. It was a 5-day event. Obviously in Las Vegas, Nevada, here in the US of A. Widely attended by folks worldwide, including some folks on your own channel, including our friend Ellie, I know was present because I saw a lot of her socials and such. But it's also the biggest convention in terms of guests that attend. They generally have between 100 and 150 guests from the Star Trek franchise, going all the way back to the beginning to present day, and other folks that are friends of the show, like, Larry Nemechek and John Champion and a lot of other really, really great people. So, Sean, I'm going to give you the spin to tell us again. You and I did not attend. I have this never-ending work conflict, which means I'll probably never go. I know you had other reasons for not wanting to go yourself, or not being able to go yourself, or however it is you describe it. But break down for me what you got out of the proceedings, and what kind of feedback you got, and what they're talking about over on Trek Culture.
So generally, I mean, yeah, you're dead right. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it this year. I had a whole bunch of reasons, one of which I'm not going to lie to you. It's expensive. I'm just going to be straight with you.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, funnily enough, because I'll just mention this first. One of the bits of feedback I got was, it was an amazing week. It was huge. It was absolutely whopper, as you say. It was the extra day this year. They did the full day on the Wednesday. They opened the vendors room on the Tuesday as well. And there's a little bit of there's a lot of positive, but there's a little bit of mixed feedback about that. Some people feeling it was a bit too much almost. One of the things was there was no single day passes this year, and that was. I believe, I might have to be fact checked on this one, but I believe that was the same for the 50th anniversary as well.
Okay.
But as I say, might have to be fact checked for that one, just to, so, I heard a person who said, so that tells me that next year they'll bring the single day passes back, which I think would be the right way to go. We were speaking just before recording here that there are all number of legitimate reasons why people can't make a 5-day convention. They can only do the weekend, or like, for example, in your case, you could only do the weekdays,
right.
Weekend would be out. So that I did hear that from a few people going, some were priced out of the game because of it. And then others were like, they went, it was fun, but it was a lot. And I mean, 4 days is a lot. I had a great time when I was there, but I was tired at the end of 4 days when I was there last year. So that was definitely a little bit of feedback that I heard. Now, in terms of, because it is not officially connected to Paramount, you don't get sort of announcements at Vegas. So, there's no news about, Academy's been saved, or, something. Unfortunately, there's not. What you do get then is you get the fans going absolutely bonkers celebrating all the different types of Trek. And one of the thing that I really enjoyed seeing online, and I've heard feedback, is the Unite for Archer.
That's my favorite thing too.
Fun. I enjoyed, because so people just threw themselves into it. So many people got pictures with the poster of vote for President Archer, and Scott Bakula apparently formally accepted the nomination to be president, which is just great fun. These are all stuff that who does this benefit? At the end of the day, it's for the fans. It's for the people who watched Enterprise back in the day, have watched it since. I mean, I've been very open about the fact that when Enterprise started airing, I watched the first 2 seasons, and then life did a life, and then I came back to it when it came to streaming. So I'm a fake fan. No, but I mean,
well, I was going to say, and a lot of people would say that you ended up missing the best part of the show, 3 and 4. In my opinion, clobbers 1 and 2, without a doubt. In my opinion,
it's because I think overall you're dead right. I think it's stronger in its second half than its first half. Funnily enough, my 2 favorite episodes of Enterprise are both from season 2. One is Creek, which is one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek.
True.
I just love it all the way through. And Regeneration, because Enterprise made the Borg scary again.
Yeah, you're right. Oh God, they really did. That's a well, I'll make a pitch to you. When the time comes that we're talking about those 2 episodes again, I will have you back, because we do a lot of single episode dives, and I would love to single episode dive with you on either one of those. So I'm gonna put it in the back of the old Cabeza here. I won't forget.
Excellent. Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to hold it. This is recorded, so I will.
Right. Oh, you caught me dead to rights.
Then other bits coming out of the week are just, there was. I was speaking, as you mentioned, Larry. I was talking to Larry about it, and he said the feeling in the air was sort of a weird, bubbly joy, and I think it's the kind of atmosphere that's because that's made by the attendees. Obviously when you're running any kind of event, you can only do so much, and then you have to sort of hope that the guests will bring that energy and they will bring that atmosphere. And by the sounds of it, it was brought, which is, don't get me wrong, I have all of the FOMO, wish I was there and everything. But it wasn't lacking for joy, the fact that I wasn't there. I will say. My ego is quite tempered because of that. And then, some of the things as well, some of the panels looked super duper interesting. I don't know, you've probably seen the clip, it's been doing the rounds of the Lower Decks panel, where you had Jack, Tawny, Noel, and Eugene on stage, and they get a massive dressing down as Don Lewis walks out on stage, and it's so funny. So good. Because that was another thing, you had serious names there this year, because these people are busy. Jack Quaid is a busy actor. He was able to make it. You had pretty much the entire cast of Academy. Holly couldn't make it, and I know Paul had to cancel because again, it happens. I mean, God love them, the O'Briens cancelled en masse.
Yeah.
Colin and Rosalind and Hannah, all for various work reasons, had to pull out. So I mean, but this happens. But like you mentioned, like there's 150 guests or something, and on the one hand, you would hope that 150 different actors wouldn't all be available for the same week in August.
Right. That was my thought too. You want the, you want to see them, but you almost don't want to see them if you really, care about their livelihood, because you want them to be out there doing their thing, so they can slide in a day or two. But if it's Cole Meany, who's over there in Ireland with you, I assume he's still native son. He still lives over that way, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. So that's not next door. So that's a huge commitment for him to come for even a little bit of time. So yeah, hopefully he's working. I still see him in things. I just saw him in something recently, so I know he works. So that's awesome.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
It sounds like it was a great thing. My 2 cents about Vegas in general, the convention, is it's for the fans. As I say, like the main thing, if it was an official like Paramount event, it might be different. But then that itself definitely has pros and cons. Yeah, you might get more Star Trek news out of it, but then the flip side of that is that it might become, I don't know, a bit more regimented, a bit more sort of, harder to have the little side split off things. But part of the fun, Ellie and Katie and Linda, they did a panel on JC, Janeway.
Right. I saw
like that at the SDCC equivalent of a Star Trek convention. Maybe you would, but I don't know. I like the idea of things being unofficial, so you can just chat, you sit down and talk to whomever, and and one of the, funnily enough, the biggest thing I think for me that I love that this happened this year was B. Joe Trimble being there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, treasure that. Yeah, at her age, it's very exciting to have her, without a doubt.
Like 100%. She herself and, her late husband, John, are directly responsible for the convention existing.
Right.
If you think of it like that, if it hadn't been for the letter writing campaign, and I know sometimes this, we get blue in the face talking the letter writing campaign. No, that's how important it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Without it, we wouldn't have this, like we wouldn't have 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds to talk about today,
right?
Because Star Trek would have never made it past season 2,
right?
So seeing her there being celebrated, that was great. I saw Nana Visitor just shared as well how excited she was to give her a copy of the book, Open a Channel, The Women in Star Trek, which is a fabulous. I think we've talked about it before. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
So all the FOMO. Wish I was there, but it looks like it was a fantastic week. Certainly, definitely little things that could be easily fixed. Bring back the single day passes.
Yeah, please.
Because that I think just makes it more accessible to everyone else. And then I personally don't like. I think the Rio Hotel is perfectly fine. I will also say I don't have a lot of experience at different hotels in Vegas, so I'm not really sure how it stacks up.
Right,
because I've seen mixed feedback. I'll be honest. But so much of that is sounds like I work for creation. I don't, but so much of that is outside of the convention's sort of control.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, FOMO basically is how I sum it up.
And we went back in 2023, and I've talked about this on the show before. It was a weird year because it was during the strike. So much of the content was cut down to the bare nub. But I got to tell you, April and I drove out there, which was awesome. We got to see so much of America. Stopped at a couple of national parks. It just blew your mind. The trip back was also filled with a lot of just kind of wonder of seeing America. But the convention itself, yes, you felt how it was diminished, and I felt like there wasn't a ton to kind of see or do. But I'm not the world's biggest fan of Vegas. I don't gamble. I don't love the cigarette smoke that's so pervasive inside of a casino. But you can't get around those things. So I can't knock creation for doing that. We also had some, on the personal side, some bad experience with hanging out with some people we're not friends with anymore that really soured things, which wouldn't be a factor if we went again. Yeah, I mean, it's life, and you kind of people coming in and out of your life for a very good reason. So it made it tough. So I'm committed to the fact that I will return someday, even if it's for like a Wednesday, Thursday, if they have those single day passes. And maybe April would come and maybe she'll stay longer. Maybe she'll rep the show longer. She'll network for us, or Peter will go, or I'm not closing the door, but yeah, Vegas as an environment is not something that really kind of blows my skirt up for lack of a bit. I mean, I'd be more excited. They did one that when they were doing the individual city shows. There was one in Chicago that I didn't go to. There's one coming up in Philadelphia that I won't be going to, but you and I go on the Star Trek cruise and it's so much more immersive for me. I like it so much better that if I'm going to spend the big bucks, that's where my big bucks are going to go. But not everybody can. It's funny, for the price of going to Vegas, I almost feel like you could go on the cruise and it's you get more out of it, but not everybody can get on a boat, just like not everybody can get on a plane. So there's no magic bullet, for lack of a better expression, of how to express your fandom and how to experience a big event. So I'm happy that we have the cruise. We're lifers on the cruise. April loves it so much. We'll probably always go if we can swing it, which I hope we can. I know you're going to be back again next year, which I'm super fired up about, so we could hang out. Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. All right, well, let's move on. Let me do my last plug, and then we'll actually start talking about Star Trek. We'll take a little dip and we'll talk about Star Trek again. But as Code 47 is part of the Trek Geeks family, we are very proudly brought to you in part by the wonderful people over at Fansets. I love Fansets. This is a family-owned business. They're out of Colorado. It's Lou and his wife Amity. They sold out at Star Trek Las Vegas of all of their merch, because our Trek Geeks mastermind, Bill, goes there, does the show, and works the booth with them. So I was getting updates from him as we went. So I'm super psyched, and I keep up with Amity's social media posts as well, because she's like, we're back, we're restocking, we're doing all this different stuff. But I will tell you, as a customer, and Sean, you're a customer, I prefer the term customer over cosplayer, because I take it very seriously, so I consider myself to be a customer, which is why I dropped my Monster Maroon off with my co-host Peter's mother, who's a master seamstress, to have it taken in a little bit, because I lost a little bit of weight this year. So I'm excited about that. But for that, my rank pin on that uniform came from Fansets. My badge on that came from Fansets. The one that you see here on my, if we were watching, so we're kind of tilting our way back into doing video. So the badge that you see here on my microphone arm is a Fansets. That's from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Bill. Now that you say that. Yeah, isn't that a great one? And I prefer the magnets, because it doesn't muck up your outfit. But the everything, all of those deltas are also available as pins, really. Though, and some of the Monster Maroon accessories are just pins because of the way they are. But anyway, I could gush all the live long day. Go to fansets.com. Use the discount code TrekGeeks to save. That's all one word, all caps, no spaces. He wrote, for a 10% discount off your entire order. If you spend $30, which is really 2 pins, your shipping is free as well in the continental U.S. So highly recommend it. Again, having grown up in a small business myself, my dad being a small business owner, I love small businesses. These guys are the real deal. So again, over at fansets.com, go check them out and go support some people who love Star Trek as much as we do. So, all right. Okay. Let's talk about Star Trek for real. Strange New Worlds, season 4. We are continuing on in what I consider to be a couple of another really great episodes, and kind of genre bending. And again, it's something different from one beat to the next, but we'll find out how we both feel about it. So we're going to jump in and talk about episode 3, Human Best Friend, which I absolutely love. God, this was a fun episode. Shore leave on a pleasure planet. Sounds like we've done it before, but it's a little different. Trust me. Turns dangerous when the crew's promised escape stops behaving like fun. All right. I not only have my own notes, Sean, you got your notes, but I've got Peter's notes as well. So I'm going to slide that in. I'm going to give a little summary at the end of Peter's thoughts, so he's here with us in spirit. But Sean, take the wheel. Talk to me about how you felt about this episode.
Okay, this is an episode where if you go with the joke, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
If you don't find the joke funny, you're not going to have a good time. I really think it is as diametric as that. I had a great time.
Yes, sir. Episode. Agreed.
But kind of like, I know it sounds like the master equivocator. I understand if this wasn't for some people's tastes. I do get that, because it's very in the, the stoner drink comedies of the early 2000s. I mean, it is basically a remake of The Hangover meets Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes.
And I thought it was stupid and funny. You
Right.
know, and we now have instantly memeable scenes. Obviously, number one, Una singing "Total Eclipse of the Heart" in the
Oh
original.
my God. Why do Klingons have so many power ballads was a line I wrote down that I love. I think now we're friends with the Klingon pop warrior princess Jen Uchelis. She was a guest on our show, and she always wins the gong show on the cruise. So what's the bet? I should talk. I'm going to hook up with her before we get there. I'm going to see if this is something she's going to jump on. I think she did some socials around that too. So Jen, if you're listening, and I hope you are, let's talk, because just holy cow, just absolutely so very good. Some of the best Klingon representation I feel like I've seen since Deep Space Nine and Worf in the Klingon opera in a lot of ways, in a lot of very unique ways.
I got you. Funnily enough, do you know what? Actually, we're going to talk about Klingons probably a bit more when we come to episode 4, but we're going to talk about Klingons today because yes, I want to talk about Strange New Worlds and Klingons. Right, it was that tantalizing hint. I loved every second of Spock in this episode.
Seeing, because he was seeing everybody as plants, and my absolute favorite part is when we cut over, he's talking to Ortegas and she's a cactus. I just couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it.
I heard about the avocado. What? It's just...
Are you all still plants? He was great talking about, Lon, she's much scarier now. Are you both plants right now?
I like, because I think it's just like, right, so we're doing this, we're just gonna have fun. And that's, I think, where this is not going to go down in history as one of the most thought-provoking episodes of Star Trek ever made. But you can tell there was no intention of that being the case with this episode. This was about, we're going to have fun. And sometimes my Tom over on Trek Culture, he has a very good point sometimes about, it's great that they had fun, but it's sometimes not fun watching them having their amount of fun. Basically, what he means by that is sometimes the comedy doesn't translate over. Like, you can tell they were having the time of their lives, but sometimes the presentation just doesn't come together. I feel like this time it did. And I think Martin Quinn and Melissa Navia work so well.
It's my new favorite relationship in this show. And I didn't see it coming. And how many genuine surprises do we get in any legacy show that's been around for so long that in a lot of ways, they're retreading this, or this was done on another show. The Simpsons did it first over on, on sitcoms and stuff. But how often do you just see a pairing? Now you've taken a legacy character, one of the oldest characters in the franchise, and then one of the newest characters in the franchise, and found a way to make them pals. And of course, us not knowing what Melissa's ultimate fate is going, with the character of Ortegas, what her ultimate fate is going to be, because she just exists currently within the show. We don't know, obviously, what happens to her beyond Strange New Worlds. But we at least get to enjoy the hell out of it for certainly, hopefully, for the balance of the season, and then into, the final season next year. I enjoyed the hell out of it. That was probably my favorite part of this. I would be remiss in saying something. I wrote, thanks for giving me something to finally like about the character of Christine Chapel, because I don't like the character of Christine Chapel in this show. I'm kind of sick of everything she does, but her playing Vulcan Bingo earned the name of this episode, thusly not on my Vulcan Bingo card.
Nice.
But I really enjoyed the hell out of it. But I don't need to get into talking about how much I dislike her, and I'm having, and maybe I'm echoing Peter here, because he really dislikes in this show how much they beat Spock up over everything. And the two people that beat Spock up the most would be her, and then also La'an, who I guess for that reason, my deep love, not only of the character of Spock, but really liking Ethan Peck's portrayal. I'm tired of seeing him getting beaten up so much. So that being said, Lon had some great stuff to do in this, because she becomes this crazy aggro, swinging a stick. Come with us. We have a mission. Bring the stick. And she has to go threaten some toughs. And she says, I threaten best alone. Wait back here. You're right.
Yeah, that actually works for her character.
You're right. So be on board for the joke. I liked everybody got something to do that was silly. The captain with the face tattoo and the horsey tattoo, because they're on this planet where it's this the natural atmosphere makes everybody act like they're on shrooms, and everybody's having a different reaction. Celia was chewing scenery as Uhura, answering the door and talking about her journey, and dressed in this crazy outfit. I mean, you're right. Everything worked, but I'm right with you. If you can't let go to the point where you can say, all right, this is a fun, like everybody knows about the upcoming Muppets episode. I've seen it because I got a screener. I assume you did as well.
I'll be honest with you. I can reveal I have not yet watched it. I'm going to watch it after this podcast.
Okay, very good. Gotcha. So you've got it. So, and it's the same thing. If you can't let go and accept, like, here's a serious episode, here's a series critical arc episode, here's something totally throwaway funny, and just enjoy it, which, in my rating, and I rated this about an 8.5 because it was a lot of fun. I give the show, vibes for taking swings at being fun, even though some of those fun episodes for me, like in an absolutely unpopular opinion, I hate the musical episode. Hate it with a passion. I know. It's okay. We're all fans. It's entertainment because it's entertainment people. So I'm never going to knock anybody who digs it. I just don't happen to be one of those people. But yeah, Ortegas and Scotty being so great together. They're kind of the grumpy Thelma and Louise. That's what I wrote down. It's the Hangover in space. But seeing them build that I would probably even push that up closer to a 9. I liked it so much. The only thing I deducted points for is that, can we have something that we just leave Kirk out of? He's not a part of the crew. It's like in Mean Girls. She doesn't even go here, So that's
a really good point. I was thinking, we were talking about this about, at this stage, just assign him to the Enterprise. Like, he doesn't have to be the captain. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not a captain yet.
Right.
And we have a first officer, so he could be, head of a department, something. But, like, because I think, I can't remember if it was the Griffin incident or Human Best Friend, and I started the review with, we've reached who gives a shit reason for Kirk being here.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Now, on the one hand, if he had remained a hallucination, because this is what lost me points for this episode. If he'd remained a hallucination, you didn't have to address it at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? No problem. Mind meld makes perfect sense. All grand. The fact that he then at the end is revealed to I was just on the planet as well. Right. That is.
Yeah, exactly. I was on vacation. Yeah. Well, in the last episode, you didn't go on vacation with your baby mama and your kid because you were at a conference, and now you're on vacation in the very next episode.
Yeah, and this is definitely not a planet where you bring your kids.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Vegas in the 1960s level of don't bring your kids on vacation. All right. You give me your rating, and then I will jump in, and I'm going to read Peter's notes just so that he's here with us.
It's nice and straightforward. This is an 8 for me. It lost points for Kirk being real.
Yep, fair.
That's pretty much why it lost points. Other than that, some jokes went on a tiny bit too long, but I'm
sure.
I enjoyed the comedy of it overall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, 8 for me. Really enjoyed it.
Very good. All right. So in honor of Peter, who is not with us, he was he went fractional, 7.75 out of 10. So this may surprise people. It may surprise people. No, I actually enjoyed this one. I quite enjoy it when Trek does campy and silly. Please see TOS. The relation between Scotty and Ortegas was well done and believable in the end, so we're in agreement there. Scotty's family reveal was a nice thing. I didn't touch on that, but I thought that was great as well. I said I like a Strange New Worlds character change from TOS. Now that's growth for Peter. One thing I will note is that whether you consider it canonical or not, Scotty in the extended director's cut of Star Trek II says, making reference to Peter Preston, my sister's youngest, eager to get to space. Well, he mentions 4 brothers and six, so 2 biological, 4 adopted. So also a sister, or is one of the adopted potentially also a sister and Ted? I don't know. So does he have 7 siblings? I guess is the question, which is possible. Why not? If all of your food comes out of a replicator, have as many kids as you want. You can replicate clothes, things. If there's no money, have 50 kids. Who cares? just keep adopting them. Klingon pop singer Una, I thought this was great. Some of the stuff was a little cringe side, like the drunk part was played a bit too much. and the high was just a bit more than I would have liked for Uhura. Maybe. Overall, I thought it was fun. The "you are a plant" gag was, I thought, hilarious. Agreed. I'm not sure what I think about the idea that this is how Kirk and Spock get to know each other so well. I like the older idea where they met at the academy and became friends, though less. So kind of the J.J. Abrams version. Contrived means, but I understand the need to push it through since they only have a season and a half left. Clearly, for Spock and Kirk are good friends at the beginning of TOS. So fair analysis. All right. Any final thoughts? We good to move on?
I think we're good to move on. Great,
very
fun,
good.
Not a deep thought episode.
Not a deep. This is not a Jack Handy episode. Don't think deep. I'm going to bounce back to Peter because he helped me out. He always helps me out with pronunciation because I blow things all the time. Episode 4 is a case of he put the phonetic in here. I don't know. You know what? Can you say Kurosawa? Like Kurosawa?
Chiaroscuro.
Thank you. Kurosawa is the art.
I didn't get that in one go. I will be honest with you. I myself
very good.
went and like, right, okay, how do you pronounce this and everything? Yeah.
He said that is an art form using contrast between light and dark, which is what black and white is all about. So, the summary: Una is mistaken for a resistance leader and drawn into a struggle against the Klingon occupation. Let's talk. Sean, walk me through it.
Okay, so this is right. So we mentioned Klingons. One of the things that I really did like about this episode was the return of the Empire. So
yes.
Klingons, we're very used to the DS9 Klingons, and I think much more so than the Next Generation, because even in the Next Generation, I think we still had that sort of movie Klingon sort of feel left over. We hadn't. Obviously, we get Worf, and we spend a lot of time with Worf, but when we meet the Klingons, it's pretty much still sort of Imperial. DS9 softens them, and I'm not saying I don't like it. But
yeah,
when you spend a lot more time living among them and you start to, for want of a better word, humanize them, you sort of tend to forget the fact that they're never not called the Klingon Empire.
Mm-hmm.
We just sort of stop talking about all of the planets they subjugated because they're helping us fight the Dominion.
Right.
So here you have the return of the character Kor, obviously originated by John Colicos in Errand of Mercy. And I thought it was a good idea to bring him specifically back as the governor of
our first Klingon.
Yeah,
right.
And I did like that. Now, I think so. There's the canon with the big C and canon with the little c.
Right.
A long time ago, I stopped having headaches over canon slips or here or there. I do ever now bring it up. Like, for example, in Human Best Friend, did Spock tell Kirk about Sybok? You know what I mean? Like, what does that do for Star Trek 5? I never knew you had a brother. There's kind of like, so things like that. But then you kind of go like, well, listen, does this, Kor's ridges. Right. So,
I noted that too.
I quite like the redesign of the Klingons for Strange New Worlds. And I have to be honest, it doesn't fit. With canon. I'm just going to be straight there. It doesn't work because what did Kor go and shave his ridges off so that in a couple of years when Kirk and Spock meet him on the planet, he's smooth-headed, but then he grows them back for DS9. Like
maybe he caught a cold. That virus that was originated back in Enterprise. Maybe you get a vaccine, but it does. It's a cold and flu ridges season on Kronos. I don't know, man. My bigger problem was the big Liberace outfit that they're wearing now, because they go from.
That was funny.
They go from
Chris. My Chris picked up on that. He was just like, these are snappy Klingons, these are the snazzy. Do you know what I mean? And I went, yeah, because we're doing Casablanca. I mean, that's what it is. Because this season, and as much as I am enjoying the season, this is the season Star Trek goes to the movies. Episode 1, sort of Jurassic Park. It's sort of tailoring to fit, like, kind of Land Before Time, Land of the Lost. Episode 2, Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 3, The Hangover, Dude, Where's My Car? Episode 4, Casablanca. And of course, these kind of, the Maltese Falcon, all those kind of things as well. And the only moment, now I did have a good time. It sounds like I didn't enjoy the episode. I did, but there was a couple of moments where the Casablanca took me out of the episode. I didn't mind all the gin joints. I did have a little bit of a groan, but it was a groan with a smile.
A groan.
But when they came in and they sang, and I went, I'm having a good time. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying this, but there is no immersion going on in this episode at this point. Like I am watching Star Trek do a film. So that to me, it sounds weird that I'm saying that loses the episode points for me, even though I enjoyed it. I'm trying because I'm thinking about it with my critical brain as well. As an episode of television, it wasn't immersive. As something I was watching and enjoying, I had a good time. I feel like the only reason they gave any explanation for the black and white is because we had scenes on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I think, and I have to say, I would have just gone, scrap the entire La'an storyline. It added nothing to the episode.
That was my biggest gripe as well. And again, they at the very end of it, they stick together the two characters I like the least on this show in a plot line that had nothing to do with anything. So that took me down 3 whole points because I'm like, it was futzing about. And then I just feel like a lot of the things Chapel says and does don't really jibe with how I feel like Majel portrayed the character in her, appearances on TOS. I feel in a lot of ways that character is the most disparate of any of them that we see in the show, in my opinion, between original version, original recipe, and then KFC, what we got here.
I think that's fair. I think that is very accurate because I think it's deliberate. I think, there is such a fascinating story in how Chapel came to be on the original series and, the wigs and the ducking and diving and, Lucy's on stage, run, hide, Majel, a lot of that. But because of that, then you have, I do like Chapel in the original series and in the movies, but you couldn't accuse her of having much character growth,
Right.
So I feel there was a very deliberate, no, we are going to create a character for Christine Chapel in Strange New Worlds. And largely, I like it because I really like Jess Bush. And it's evident, like, from the jump, they were like, oh, it's very obvious we're doing something different with Chapel. Cool. One then wonders, did she have to be Chapel? What? So that's maybe another conversation altogether. But 4 episodes into season 4, where is she? That would be my sort of big thing. It's like, so as you say, kind of like this last minute, we gave her something to say, and all right, Grant, so now, that was a bit of a weird one. And also my big thing is, how long does transport take on the Enterprise? If she had time to reroute the transport signal into the medical transporter, beam it in, open it up, wipe the disk, put it back in badly, put it back in the transporter, because as Pike makes a point of saying, there is a chain of custody. So, so that to me, unfortunately, just didn't work. And because of that storyline, we get, and again, I want to be really, really, really clear, this is not about the performer, but my least favorite addition to Strange New Worlds is the Vulcan cadet, because I do not like what Strange New Worlds does with Vulcans. I don't want to make a sweeping statement. I'm tempted to say Stranger Worlds has no idea what Vulcans are, but that's a big statement. So I'm going to be more specific and say
the way they treat Spock is, talking Spock into Pring's outfit. Ponfar is right out the window. I feel like it doesn't even get mentioned because maybe it gets invented the year afterwards. We have Ponfar now, so only sex once every 7 years because T'Pring and Spock are going at it like rabbits in the first episode of the show, and it's just no big deal. They're not very Vulcan-like at all. So that's very frustrating. I agree with you.
And it's doing the character. Well, there isn't a character in Vulcan Cadet. There is
a stereotype,
snappy, rude line
delivery.
And again,
it's like a sitcom character. It's snappy, rude, like it is. Forgive the expression, the gay best friend, which is a terrible stereotype in movies and TV. Like, I'm going to come out and say something snarky. It was just. Yeah. I know a lot of gay people. They're not all snarky quip machines. They're normal human beings. So, stereotypes are gross for absolutely that reason.
Also, I kind of have a moment of like, did La'an forget that she's the chief of security on the Enterprise? Why is she asking this cadet? I mean, like, certainly, you can be polite about it, but like, I'm not requesting. Do
right,
this.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm an officer. You're not. You work for me.
Yeah.
You work for all of us. Yeah.
So that to me, so the Enterprise stuff, although we had, we get that fun scene with Scotty and Ortegas, which is actually, did you know, so they flipped the release. 4 was going to be 3, 3 was going to be 4.
That makes perfect sense because Una's talking about, well, this is my first assignment after my promotion. So that flagged me right away.
But the Scotty and Ortega scene doesn't make sense then.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So I'm like, so I know that they did flip them, but the decision must have been made much earlier. Do you know what I mean?
And twisted about with reshoots or whatever it is. Yeah. A quickie little this and that.
Because like, I suppose in fairness, like I know there was, or at least there seemed to be kind of different lighting regardless of the black and white. So I'm trying to think like, that is a scene that could have been filmed 2 weeks ago and banged in. You know what I mean? Like, the performers would never know. I know in interviews, Anthony was kind of saying, yeah, hang on, 3 was 4, 4 was 2. So, but yeah, so, right. So, grumble. Enterprise, bin that storyline, not needed. Down on the planet, great episode for Rebecca Romaine.
Totally.
A bit like, kind of, yeah, she's a doppelganger, just go with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I kind of, I giggled a bit at Mbenga's, well, it's weird. We don't run into more of our doppelgangers. Like, yeah, fine. That's, you know what? Star Trek has done it so many times. I mean, like, right now, they are making an episode that has Jeffrey Combs in it. I don't know when it's going to be released, but they're going to be making, because he's on every... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not revealing news. I'm just assuming. Do you know what I mean? But like, fine. I liked this portrayal of Core because of the stylized nature of the episode. Like, he's a very different Core, but again, we get into the same different chapel, different Scotty, so on. It's a different show.
Right.
And, the snappy dressers, the Liberace thing, yeah, because they're Nazis. I mean, that's what it is. We are, doing Casablanca, the Klingons are Nazis. And, obviously it sounds weird saying a statement like that so flippantly, but in the remake of Casablanca, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And I kind of I think I really enjoyed Una's journey in this because we haven't had an awful lot. I mean, like, we had the great Klingon power ballad, but in terms of giving Una stuff to do, give her more. You know what I mean? Especially now that we only have, after this, 9 episodes left. Which is bonkers.
But so much so, yeah. Yeah, and they're all in the can. So all the creative decisions have been made. So, I'm with you. I enjoyed the noir vibe, your gumshoe detective bit.
I do enjoy this episode. Are you frozen?
The more I listen to you talk, the more I like Core. Where before I felt, I got a little hung up on what did he catch the Head Ridge's version of the COVID virus and lost him, but then went back to the same guy and got him fixed again. The whole Ridge's thing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's going to be what it's going to be, right? So, but I liked seeing, this was some of the best Klingon work I feel like I've seen. Oh, boy. The winds of the internet are being tricky today, but I think we're back now. Sean, speak. Are you still there? Are you still there? Are you still there? There.
I think I am.
Okay, great. That's good. The lines look happier. And we've gone 12 whole seconds. But anyway, all right, let me wrap up what I was saying. We'll give it a rating, and then I'll read Peter's comments as I had in the past. So we already talked about the fact that I'm not loving on Chapel and La'an, and this just hit a nail on the head, giving like a stupid, dumb plot line. I'm reminded of the first episode that your friend and mine, Jonathan Frakes, directed of TNG was the episode with Data's daughter, which name is absolutely escaping me. What was the name of that episode?
The Offspring.
It was what? Offspring, where Riker was not in the episode at all, except for when he walked into 10 Forward, where Lal was tending bar, and then she just grabs him and kisses him because she saw some other people doing it, and then you don't end up seeing him again. So this really reminded me of that. Like, hey, did one of them direct this episode? Because it was that tacked on. But yeah, it was underscoring 2 characters that I don't really love anyway. So I kind of dialed it back for that, but love the noir stuff, love the Casablanca stuff. I went with a 7 out of 10 for this. Maybe that's a little harsh, just because I was just so down on the part I was just talking about. But what about you? Where did you land for this one?
I'm going to make you feel a bit better about your 7. I'm giving it a 6.
Ooh, ouch. Okay.
I know, and it feels very low for how much I did enjoy the episode, but I mean, the whole Enterprise plot. And also, Spock confused me. Because on the one hand, you have tangible evidence of tampering right in front of you. You can see it's been wiped. Not corroded, wiped. So on the one hand, it's like, Spock, you're being deliberately obtuse here. Whereas at the end, I actually quite like the fact when he's very Vulcan about it, he says, no, the evidence does not support your theory. I was like, oh.
Yes, yeah, there you go. Spock it.
Yeah, so I was a bit like, ugh. But yeah, overall, that whole plot line, like, that was a couple of points straight away. And then, yeah, it's a bit lower. I had a lot of fun while being very aware I was watching Star Trek 2 Casablanca.
Fair. Peter gave it a 7.5, so he's directly in the same vicinity. Well, even maybe a little higher than me. He loved the Zeppelins with the searchlight. He makes reference to the great early 2000s movie Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Do you remember that one with Jude Law? It was pretty good. He said, I thought that was pretty well done. He says, I'm still going to bitch about M'Benga's backstory. It annoys me that he's portrayed so much as a reluctant killer who happens to be a doctor, almost like a more tortured, sympathetic Garrick. Oh, never really thought about that way. I have to agree with him there. I don't.
That's a great description, actually.
Yeah. Core was interesting, but I kind of liked it. I didn't feel like he was the chorus on TOS, but he wasn't too different, so I can let it slide. I kind of liked Uhura's knowledge did help them. She wasn't just there because they liked the character, though I will complain once in a while that TOS Uhura is not Hoshi Sato. True. She's not portrayed that way. But I get that. The torture with the not Romulan mind probe was interesting. The mind sifter or mind ripper, as Core describes in his first appearance in Errand of Mercy. So it's kind of cool. I think they stuck those two aspects back together. The costumes, because they were in black and white, kind of got away with implying the TOS fabric for the Klingons without exactly being it. Interesting. Uhura's trick at the end was brilliant, maybe a bit cliched, but good. Valid comments. I like it. All right. Well, that takes us out of talking about Strange New Worlds. We're back next week. I've seen episodes 5 and 6 because of the streamer, but I don't remember which ones they are. I know one of them is the Muppet episode. That's no secret because that was featured very heavily in the promotion of the season. So I'm not giving anything away. So I look forward to talking about.
That makes me think of during we did a press junket. We were looking to be a part of it, and at the start of it, they were like, kind of, now everyone, you are not allowed to call them Muppets. We will get sued. I'm just like, but it's the Jim Henson Company. Okay, fine.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well, so apparently, I know everyone's going to call them Muppets. I've probably called them Muppets, but apparently, according to overlords at Paramount, they're puppets, damn it.
I will absolutely tell you that the name of our episode, when we talk about it, will likely quote from The Simpsons, Homer saying, when Lisa says, Dad, what's a Muppet? Because they're watching a Muppet movie on TV. It's a movie for a rained out ball game presents, and it was a Muppet movie. And Lisa goes, Dad, what's a Muppet? And Homer goes, well, it's not quite a mop and it's not quite a puppet, but boy. So to answer your question, I don't know. So as much as I can fit that into a title of the episode, I'll bet you folding money that I'm going to be pulled in that direction.
Brilliant.
but at any rate, say it again.
Why is that one Muppet made out of leather?
The Iron Maiden. All right, let's move on and talk about Spock. All right, so I've been enjoying the hell out of this segment. So we're going kind of critical character by critical character, much like we were doing with our top 5s and bottom 5s of the series, which we got through. We moved on to this, and it's great having a guest, even though you're a guest, but you're a co-host. But Peter did give me his top 5, so totally cool if we intersect. If you have an episode that I have, we'll talk about it together. Peter always tends to sneak in a bonus, so there's no set number of these we really have to do. I picked 5, but for all I know, you could have the same 5. I don't know, but because you are my guest and co-host, and I usually let Peter go first. What is your first? Here's a Spock, and again, I included movies too because I'm not going to discount the movies. I don't think it's fair to do that. So I will tell you that I have a movie, maybe 2, in the mix here. But let's get started with a Spock segment that you enjoyed.
Cool. Okay, I'm really glad that we're allowed to include movies because I'm not going to lie, I was struggling a little bit.
I understand.
But not with my first choice. My first choice, easy, Yesteryear. Just
yeah,
critical. for the character of Spock. Like it's top two in terms of if you want to get to know Spock, you watch Yesteryear. Because I mean, I'm an absolute defender of the animated series. I watched it as a kid, you know, and then went away, and I was cool as a teenager, which meant I was an idiot. Anyway. Although I did watch Battlestar Galactica, so I was very cool. But then
Very
yes,
cool.
I came back to the animated series much later on, and it's the original series animated. You know, so sorry, right? That's off my soapbox about the animated series. It's critical. You know, you get Spock, you get young Spock, you get the template for what we got in JJ Trek 2009, because all of, you know, the Spock being bullied for being half human. I feel Strange New Worlds might have run with that idea just a little bit. But you also get Sarek, you know, Mark Leonard, who is there's two guest stars who voiced in the animated series. One is Mark Leonard, who played Sarek, and then one is Roger C. Carmel, who returned as Harry Mudd in the episode.
Right.
The only one I will actually say I will openly campaign for Mudd's Passion to not be considered canon because of what it does to Christine Chappell's character. But that's a different conversation. So going back in time, basically playing a relative of himself, guiding Spock, young Spock, in his journey into the Vulcan Forge. Hello, Enterprise. Yep, we're going to run with that idea later on. We get our pet Saylat as well. It's just a wonderful, wonderful episode. It is written fantastically, and it's only 20 minutes. You know, and it's like, so the episode itself is a Spock segment, almost. You know?
Right.
Plus, we get, for a very short amount of time, we get an Andorian first officer of the Enterprise.
Yes. I love it. Yeah, which in the Andorians were so disused in the original series. They were touched upon. You got one as a background character, and then that was it. So yeah, this was our first real touchback to that. So I'll throw Peter in the mix. So he can be the bread in our sandwich here, so to speak. His first pick, I'm not going to pick his first pick because his first pick is the same as mine. But he picked the Tholian Web, which is season 3. And it's funny, I ended up picking a season 3 episode as well. And there were not a lot of really great episodes in the 3rd season of the original Star Trek, in my opinion. Some of them were pretty iffy. But he says this might seem odd, but it really showcases Spock's ability to take charge and what he's willing to do, which I think also reflects on one of my choices in different segments. So yeah, I like that. Good pick.
I like to. Funny enough, I wonder if we have the same pick. I have another pick, but it would be for very similar reasons as Peter's just listed there for the Tholian Web.
Oh, very good. Okay. My first pick is it's kind of, it might be out of a corner. It doesn't always show up on a ton of lists, but one of my favorite episodes from season 2 is Bread and Circuses. Love the Roman Empire stuff, but really and again, it really boils down to a bit because Spock, this isn't a Spock episode per se, but this one was easy for me, because I love it so much. I actually wrote a fanfic story as a teenager that was based off of this episode, like what would happen in the continuation, that I don't really remember many details about. But Bones and Spock in the jail cell, when Bones confronts Spock's and says, he gives him this whole big long speech, and he ends it with, what you're really afraid of is that you might slip up and show some emotions show through, and you get this very pregnant pause in Spock, and he says the line that I feel like I quote really all the time, where he says, "Really, Doctor?" I feel like I just say that to myself sometimes. That could be my favorite Spock moment. That's not the needs of the many and live long and prosper, and like all the really, like the Vulcan salute, like things that people think of all the time. I think this was, having the weight of those words fall so heavy on Spock, and having him really holding back, saying, you're absolutely right, or F you, why are you getting in my face? But having him just Vulcan up and shut it down shows how in control he really is at that, how buttoned up or buried he is at that point in fighting his Vulcan half and his human half and being able to express the emotion. So I loved it. Absolutely loved that moment. And again, an absolutely awesome episode.
Absolutely. People forget just how racist Dr. McCoy was.
Oh, God. Absolutely.
Like, because, D. Kelly played him so likable, but
yeah,
he is not going to survive a single HR investigation.
Yeah. The folksy racism of the 1960s.
Oh my God! Like,
oh yeah, exactly. He would be out in big trouble. All right, give me another great. After you have a big old sip, give me another great one.
Oh, what order am I going to go in?
That doesn't matter. There's no order with this. It's just one that you love.
All right, look, the one I just teased there. So basically, for all the reasons Peter listed the Tholian Web, I would list the Doomsday Machine.
Oh God, great episode. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because he has to deal with a guy who looks a little bit like me, which would be Commodore Decker. I have the uniform.
Do you know what? I bet you would be able to commandeer a starship very well as well. I have faith in you, Charlie. I think you would.
Is it because I'm an old white guy?
Well, I mean, let's be real. It probably helps. I love
it doesn't
the story
hurt.
as well. Like William, it's William Wyndham, right? Yeah, William.
Yes.
I think he openly was just like, "What's a Star Trek?" He hadn't a clue, and he played that in the character, right. Which is one of the reasons he is so kind of demented in the role. But yeah, the whole Spock openly talking about like, how do we technically commit mutiny here, Doctor? Because if we're just following the letter of the law, they're organizing a mutiny. Now, obviously, they have reason. Like he is not in full possession of his faculties. Like it's a great episode for Kirk as well. Like Doomsday Machine. I don't need to sing the praises of the Doomsday Machine. That's how good it is. In fact, actually, we're not. I don't know if people are on camera. I have my Doomsday Machine right here. Okay.
The cornucopia.
The cornucopia.
Exactly. The bugle. The bugles.
Yeah. It's just a great episode for showing Spock's ability to lead, his grace under pressure. And it's one of those episodes that sort of reminds you of the wider world than just the Enterprise.
Right. Yeah, good point.
It's kind of like, and Next Gen was quite similar sometimes to this. Like, so I think a lot of it gets portrayed through Nechayev, but it's like Picard has bosses. So does Kirk.
Right.
They're
and none of them are nice. Like, they all seem to be dicks.
Kind of, yeah. Like kind of like one nice admiral. I'm looking for one. Or Commodore in this case. But yeah, right. I'm very interested because they've name dropped him in Strange New Worlds. I wonder if Matt Decker will make an appearance. They name dropped him in the episode with the Kirk episode in season 6. It doesn't narrow it down, but the one that's more or less on the Farragut. In season 2. They name drop Decker in that one. So it'll be interesting now to see if they do bring him back. But there I am talking about the whole episode. Specifically, Spock's grace under pressure. It's a great example.
Most def. All right, and again, I'm going to bounce around Peter's list a little bit because some of ours are shared. So I'll go back to the share ones. But he gives Journey to Babel. Very critical episode from season 2, illustrating Spock's complicated relationship with his father and his mother, and how he works through and eventually has a reconciliation. And I feel like there's talk of maybe violating this with Strange New Worlds. I thought I heard a hint that James Frain may come back as Sarek. I don't know. Have you heard this as well? Am I making this up?
I mean, you're not making this up. I saw the hastily deleted Instagram post.
That was what I was thinking of. Yeah.
So yes, no, I mean, we don't know what context. I'm delighted because never has a show pretended so hard that it's not a spin-off of another show.
It's so much work.
No, we don't talk about Discovery. You're like, yeah, but anyway, right, okay.
But there was a thing with the shh. All right, I'll go. And this is, call it a hot take if you want to, but again, we're talking about Spock. Here's a segment of Star Trek that people love to pile on and drag. Star Trek the Motion Picture had so many incredible Spock moments. Just the range of Nimoy's performance. And again, it's even more impressive based on the scale that he wasn't coming back for phase 2. It was what you and I were talking about when the whole I Grok Spock thing came up. Yes. He wrote the I Am Not Spock. Then he wrote the I Am Spock book, and he was trying to distance himself from the character, and he wouldn't come back. And he finally agreed to come back for this film. Watching the range of his performance going from when he comes on board and just very blankly stares at Chapel and McCoy and Uhura, and they were also in Sulu, and everybody's so excited to see him, and he's just, what? when they're like, yeah. And then he says, I'm going to go do the thing I came for. So, and then Mr. Spock, welcome aboard. And he just walks away. And to the point where a few scenes later, when it's Kirk and McCoy in the great officers' lounge, or it's actually one of the rec room, not the officers' lounge that you see behind the bridge. I'm a Connie 2 nut. That's my ship, so I know it deck by deck and place by place. Are you pulling up the? Oh, that's my baby. Oh, I have a lot of Connie 2s, around my house. But no, it was in one of the rooms in the rec room. When Spock delivers my favorite line in retort to McCoy, he says, what? McCoy says, well, Mr. Spock, you haven't changed a bit. You're still as warm and personable as ever. And Spock says, nor have you, Doctor, as your continued predilection for relevancy demonstrates. I mean, I wish there was a normal time in life you could use that, but I love it. Yeah. And this big emotional breakthrough he has after his V'ger mind meld. He's back on the ship where he takes Kirk's hand and says, this simple feeling is beyond V'ger's comprehension. And you start to see a turn in the character that evolves. You know, you got to remember that between Star Trek's 1 and 2, it's over a decade. So the Spock that we see in Star Trek 2, which I get the feeling we're going to talk about here shortly, is incredibly different. So, like I said, people like to crap on this movie for everything. It's too slow. The costumes are so ugly. There's no action. They don't. What McCoy, or excuse me, what Nimoy McCoy? Look at how I mixed them up. What he accomplishes, what Leonard Nimoy accomplishes as Spock in this film, I think is some of the biggest character growth that we see for any character in the history of Star Trek, in particular within the span of a single film.
Yeah,
I will never not be impressed by what Nimoy did in this film. Top marks.
Agreed. I'm a motion picture defender. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'll defend it. And I've seen it just in the last decade. I've seen it 2 or 3 times on the big screen. I think I went to a 40th anniversary revival in 2019, which did not have the updated audio track, so it sounded really echoey. And then I saw a beautiful print that I think David Fain was at here in Grand Rapids, which was crazy because one of our local theater chain owners, Corey Jacobson's of Phoenix Theaters, which is they're all around the U.S., but his main theater group is here in Michigan. It was back during my fan club days, so my chapter that I ran was there supporting it. But saw a beautiful print of what the director's cut in the 4K version of which, of course, I own, and I'm sure you own. Watching it, I will never put. I watch it at least maybe once or twice a year. I like it so much, but most people, I think, I hate to be snotty, but I said most people just don't get it. Most people just don't get it because you're a defender too.
I think that's I think that's a fair statement to make, and I get what you mean. Like, you know, kind of, oh god, you know, we sound like we're up our own anyway. But I think as well, people quite fairly are remembering the unfinished version. I mean, it was unfinished until 2001. They said it. The director's edition was the version at the time they wanted to put out. You know, I remember watching that one, the Robert Wise cut. It was great. You know, if you can find the DVD, if you have the DVD, chock full of special features, interviews on that one. I do. I did hang on to the DVD, but yeah, I have about 8 discs of Star Trek the Motion Picture in because I have them all in one of those big flip binders now, so they're all in the same place. God, you basically funded the restoration, so thank you for that. Yeah. It's anything I can do. That's what real fans do. 100%. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you can see right behind me, the Vulcan shuttle that was the motion picture is beautiful as well, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. But the Connie 2, there will never be another. There's of the great loves of my life. I have my wonderful wife April. I have my children, including my stepkids, and then I have the Connie 2. So it's like 1, 2, 3. I think. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I might change the order of that a little bit, but yeah, I mean that's a pretty that's. So you're saying the Connie 2 should be number 2, is what you're saying? The kids after that. Oh no, an argument could be made for that. Okay. All right, let's move on before I get in too much trouble. What is your next pick? Okay, so you've opened the floor to movies, right? Please. So I didn't include Wrath of Khan, not to be facetious and not to be different. I just kind of went, well, obviously. So instead of now you're making me feel worse that's not only one of my picks but also Peter's. But we'll get to that in a minute. No, because of rightly so. For me, Voyage Home. I mean,
Okay. Yeah. One of Peter's notes too. So I can insert his notes along with what you're saying. So you go ahead.
Oh, like, just, one damn minute, Admiral. I stand with my ship. I know we're supposed to be doing segments, and I'm like, the entire film.
Double dumbass on you.
Exactly, yeah. Those colorful metaphors? Yeah, maybe don't use them. Gracie is pregnant. Is it time for a colorful metaphor, Admiral? Like,
yeah.
Just,
the hell I cannot.
It's so well done because, obviously Nimoy's directing it, so he understands Spock, but it understands how to use Spock in a funny way. Which is not to say there hadn't been a funny Spock before. Yes, of course there had. But, it's when you've had, at that point, 20 years with the character, only 20. That's how long ago The Voyage Home was.
Right.
40 years ago.
40 years this year. You bet. Just released.
Yeah. So, like, there's so much comedy in it. And, there's obviously, not that Star Trek ever does politics, but look after the planet. It's got its message in there.
Save the whales.
Save the flipping whale, But it's also the very last time Nimoy and Mark Leonard interact in Star Trek.
And what a great scene at the end of that.
It's great.
Anybody any son who's ever had a father or father who's had a son. I did father and son stuff for me. And again, we just finished rewatching Ron Moore's Battlestar Galactica, and I cry a lot during that show because my dad and I are pretty close, but like any father and son, we've had our ups and downs, and it just, April will look over at me and smile because I'm always crying when it comes to father and son stuff. I just watched my favorite Star Trek film, Star Trek 3, last night. I watched the back half of it because I watched the first half of it in a hotel. Because I have a Roku I travel with when I stay in a hotel, so I can just watch my own stuff. But I watched the back half of it, and then watching Sarek explain why why he's making an illogical request of this Vulcan priestess. He says, my logic is uncertain where my son is concerned, and I'll watch Charlie cry.
I love that though. Like, those first 6 films, there is something to kick you in the heart in every one of them.
Even in 5 somehow. Even in 5, I don't know.
If you ever are thinking, I'm feeling backed up and I need to cry, watch McCoy and his dad in Star Trek 5.
Oh God! To preserve his dignity.
Oh, floodgates. Also, I think we were saying this before. This is I'm going to come across as such a, please listen to my podcast. Got to interview Lawrence Luckenbill. Spent 2 hours talking to him. The man is incredible.
We might have to. We might have to do a little quid pro quo here because I would love to talk to that man. But we'll talk about that some other time. Yes, indeed. Peter was on board with that as well. Spock is wonderful in his relearning of everything in this film and has some of his best pithy one-liners, especially when talking to McCoy. They play the relationship very well, up very well in this film. I was going to say I like him better before he died, but that was from 5. But that was, all the stuff around. Now wait just a damn minute. What is this thing just here to say hello to the people of the Earth? And Spock's like, I love the look he gives him, like only human arrogance would assume the message must be meant for man. You can almost see him rolling his eyes.
I love it because it's also one of those moments of like, oh yeah, we do just kind of assume they always want to talk to us, don't we?
Right. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick my foot in the obvious territory, but Peter's with me. But Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan,
and it's there for a reason.
It's there for, and I said, I was just talking about the motion picture being that you and I, that's the hill that you and I will die on. We can hold hands and die on the motion picture, Star Trek, the motion picture Defender Hill. I think it's really remarkable how we see the results of Spock's mind meld with V'ger in TMP. You jump forward almost right around a decade, and to see how different he is as a person. He's an instructor at Starfleet Academy, so he's a mentor, but he's a kindly mentor to Savick, his protege, and it kind of gently. I think he's nicer to her than Kirk is to her. Kirk seems to be a little bit more standoffish, but a kinder and more human Spock. But I would say his sacrifice to save the ship, dead on pure Vulcan logic, the needs of the many. Again, the biggest cliched expression. Saddest film ending in the history of cinema. Please fight me. secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. Find us at Secret Friends Unite on any socials. You want to disagree with me? Let's party. Yeah, what they did right, they did right. And Peter backs me up by saying we see Spock at some of his best, witty, calculating, loyal, and self-sacrificial.
Yep.
Hard to fight. Hard to fight the feeling. All right, give me another one.
Unification Part 2.
Ooh, Peter had that as his bonus, so that works. Let it roll.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's very much a Spock episode, even though it's in the Next Generation, and Spock and Data in that, because Data, obviously, while Data at this stage is very much, now you start to say, who's the Data of DS9, who's the Data of Voyager, whereas in the beginning, Data was the Spock of the Next Generation, and seeing these two characters interact, and that simple, I'm paraphrasing here, it is an irony that you have spent your entire life trying to give up what I would give anything to achieve. I'm more
right.
That's I've got the phrasing wrong of it, but just Data and Spock's interaction, and then of course Picard breaking the news that Sarek has died to Spock as well, offering the mind meld, and Spock says, in a way, you knew my father better than I ever did. And it's like, oh, yeah, talking about fathers and sons and tears and everything. Like, ha, ha, ha. So Unification 2, I think, is another one because it's not chronologically the last time we see Leonard Nimoy's Spock. Obviously, we see him in JJ's Trek. I call it Trek 2009. It's just because it's hard to call it Star Trek. Because, like, there's Star Trek, the original. Anyway, I've got into it.
Right.
But yes, because we do see this Spock a little bit later on. But here you get maybe the pacing we're more used to with this Spock, because obviously in cinema, everything's crash bang wallop and there's so much else going on and around, so much amazing stuff. And maybe I will come back to this, who knows? But in Unification 2, the scene with Data and the mind meld at the end are like, that is critical for Spock, although it works because of everything that's come before, because we care about this character, because we care about
right. Yeah. Peter says, and he referenced this as This Side of Paradise being the second part. This really shows Spock's vulnerable side or poor decision-making side, meaning Spock is not perfect, so it makes him more relatable, I think. I agree. I agree with that sentiment. All right. Now, we've gotten a little off the axis, but I'll jump back in with one, and this is how much have I jumped around? Oh, I've jumped around a little bit, but here we go. I'll jump backwards. One of the few episodes I'd like from season 3, the Enterprise incident.
Oh, of course.
Early episode. It's the most Romulan-y we get. It's also a pretty transparent reuse of, oh, you still got yours in the box. I have other figures, so I took mine out of the box, and he's with my other figures because I have a lot of the DST figures. Plus, I bought the first and second wave of Brian Volkweiss, friend of the show, of his nacelle line. Great guy. I know you've talked to him as well. We've had him on twice, so I'll probably have him back again someday because I like him so much. But one of the very few bright spots of a really downtrodden season 3, like I said, very transparent reuse of using the D7 and Spock's line that reports are now saying the Romulans are using the Klingon design. Really, is that what the reports are saying? Now you can see my eye roll. You can see my eye roll. And then all the sets they had running around the Romulan ship were just the Enterprise sets with green lights. But putting all that aside, the complexities of what lying means when you're a Vulcan or not telling the truth, really. Kind of like, I think of Tuvok's Maquis infiltration at the beginning of Voyager when he is talking to Chakotay about it a little bit later on that first season. He says, I was being honest with myself within the parameters of my mission. And then he has the very biting, how may I be honest with you today, Commander? Because Chakotay, of course, being the one that he was lying to. And plus also, I thought his scenes with the Romulan commander, the female Romulan commander, really smolder with her own kind of forbidden fruit kind of heat. Like, oh, but she's bad, but always the bad girls. And I know that character went on in Beta Canon and other things to have more of a backstory, which I'm not personally familiar with, but I really do like that episode. It was also our introduction to the cloaking device, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I really dug that episode. And again, in a season where I can probably name 5 or 6 episodes that I liked in that last season. Spectre of the Gun is another one. And again, I've talked about it in the past, but it falls on, we have a low budget. So here's half of a set we borrowed from Bonanza, but they still made a great episode of it. But I digress. Spock also has a great line in that one there where he says, "Is this a dead man, Doctor? Very dead, Mr. Spock." When Chekhov is temporarily killed off. All right. And I'll slide in one more from Peter. He and I have one to share. So I will come back to that. So you do one. You're probably down to your first or second or last one. Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty one. I mean, there's just so many. Spock and Spock, Star Trek 2009.
Oh my! Wow, first pick from the Kelvin verse. Yeah, tell me about it.
Absolutely love that scene. I am not our father. Oh,
yes,
what a line. And what it's like, although unlike many, you can be in 2 places at once. And as my usual parting would be oddly self-serving, I shall just say good luck. I mean, it's one-liner after one-liner, but also because my controversial thing is I would actually not have included Nimoy in Star Trek Into Darkness. I think they capped it perfectly in Star Trek.
You're right. Why? Piling it on was unnecessary, and it was You're right. It was the perfect send off to the character, and really the Beyond in Star Trek Beyond, which is the only one of those films I really, really, really enjoyed. But the very emotional farewell with the cast pick from Star Trek V when he's opening Prime Spock's items after he passes was another Niagara Falls moment without a doubt. But I am totally with you.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just that scene, I love it. And because the both of them, I don't think I think maybe more recently, but sometimes I think it's easy to sort of overlook the Kelvin verse films, but Zachary Quinto is so good as a younger version of Spock, and also, I mean, when they were making Zachary Quinto, I think they had an early mold of Leonard Nimoy. I buy him as a younger Leonard Nimoy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
More so than Listen, it's not Ethan Peck's fault. He doesn't look exactly like Leonard Nimoy, but you know what I mean. It's like fine.
Yeah.
Whereas those two actually look quite alike, apart from the styling. So I loved it. I thought it was that scene again, chopping onions. But less chopping onions sad, more, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Peter and I share one, and I think, do you have another one?
I can, if you will. I can keep going as long as you like.
I'll tell you what, I'll do the one that he and I share, you do one more, and we'll call it good. So he and I were both loving on, it would be funny if yours was the same one, it was Amok Time. So early season 2. I said, what's not to love about this episode? Spock struggles to not talk about his personal problem, which becomes, and it's funny because, Pon farr is visited again in the Voyager episode, which name I'm forgetting. Remember the one Vulcan crew member? Blood fever, exactly. When you have a young Vulcan crew member who's going through Pon farr and he accidentally passes it on to B'Elanna. I think that's one of the best episodes of that season. I thought really, 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 really well played. But it's made plain from that just how personal that is for a Vulcan, and they really don't talk to anybody. But so Spock is doing anything he can. He'd rather die than talk about it. But, his friends, of course, end up forcing the issue, and Kirk puts himself on the line to make sure they get delivered. But, they get to Vulcan, and you see my impression of T'Pring is that cheating bitch. The way that she manipulates things, like everybody's worst girlfriend, the way she, sets it up so that she can ultimately get the guy she wants, her side dude, instead of her arranged marriage to Spock. And we're throwing out everything that's happened in Strange Worlds around those characters. I don't want to think about it. The music cue in that of the fight scene is more famous than almost anything in all of Star Trek. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. Oh my God. Spock's big toothy grin when he realizes that he didn't kill Kirk at the end, and he goes, Jim! And it the little music cue there. So it just everything in this episode is it's kind of box checking fever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's absolutely everything to love. Peter says, not only do we get some insight into the Vulcan side, which Spock struggles with a bit, but we also see how much Spock is really friends and cares for Kirk. No, I don't go for Spirk. I assume that's shipping between Spock and Kirk. Whatever. You know what? It's entertainment and people can do what they want. If they want to think about the two of them being a romantic couple, you know what? It's not going to keep me up nights. But yeah, I get it. I don't think that two guys having a platonic, loving relationship means that at the core of it they want to hook up with each other. But then again, maybe it does. Who cares? It's not me. And they're fictional characters. They can do what they want. It's totally fine by me. IDIC. All right, take us home. What's your last one?
I won't lie. I mean, I also had a mock time, but I've got one that often gets overlooked as a Spock moment, and I think it is one.
Okay.
He knows, Doctor. He knows.
He knows. Oh, I had that as one of my Kirk episodes because it's just so great. Go for it. Go, sir. Sorry. Glitch.
Glitch. Just Spock understands at the end of the City on the Edge of Forever what Kirk had to do. The whole Edith Keeler must die. You know, there's the cold logic side of it, but he understands why this is heartbreaking. It is so key to understanding
Kirk
and Spock's relationship.
Such good stuff. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So this has been fun. We'll keep this going into our next episode. So our next character will be Picard. And again, Peter and I always work really hard at trying to pick ones that kind of like, and Sean, you really understood the assignment. You picked ones that maybe weren't the most obvious choice to step into, which maybe we did a little bit, but I think a mixture of the two worked really, really well. So, you had to do Wrath of Khan.
You have to do Wrath of Khan. You do.
Absolutely correct. Well, cool. This has been awesome. God, thank you for coming back. I know I've got you on the slate before the end of the year to come back to do a random episode with us because you picked one. So we're going to have you back in a couple of months. But God, thank you for being here. Man, did I ever love meeting you in real life when we were on the cruise. And I look forward to seeing you again next February. But in between then, if people want to interact with you, if they want to talk Spock, if they want to talk Strange New Worlds, how do people find you out there?
Nice and easy. Look for Trek Culture. You'll find me, or just my name, Sean Ferrick, on both Instagram and Blue Sky is probably where.
Excellent, very good. And I, of course, can be found across all of the interwebs, with the exception of X and TikTok, with all of the Secret Friends Unite handles, but also myself. I am at the C3, TheCeeThree. I've also gotten a little bit better about doing my 3-minute kitchen chats where I'm just talking about stuff that don't make our ordinary shows. So you can find those on all of those socials and on our YouTube channel. Please definitely visit secretfriendsunite.com to find all of our content, our YouTube channel, and then, of course, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, where you can find all our bonus content. If you'd like to write emails, secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. Drop us a line. Tell us something that you're enjoying, and we will talk about it on a future show, any of our great shows. So thanks for tuning in, friends. As always, I'm going to say that sharing is caring, and to keep on trekking.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.